The voicemail came at 2:47 a.m. I almost deleted it without listening. 3 years of silence, and now this. Mom's voice, shaky but determined. Maya, honey, we need to talk about your Forbes article. There's something important we need to discuss as a family. Call me back, please. I sat up in bed, phone glowing in the dark. The same woman who couldn't return my calls when I was eating ramen in a studio apartment now needed to talk, urgently. At 3 a.m., I pressed play again. Listened closer this time. Behind her words, I heard it. That edge in her voice she only got when money was involved. And suddenly, I understood exactly why they were calling. I set the phone face down on my nightstand and stared at the ceiling of my downtown loft. The same loft I'd bought 6 months ago, the closing documents signed alone at a coffee shop because I had no one to celebrate with. The same loft my parents didn't know existed because they'd never asked where I lived. Sleep didn't come back that night. Instead, memories did, sharp and uninvited. Let me take you back to where this really started, not 3 years ago when they stopped calling. Further back, to the moment I realized I was optional in my own family. I was 23, standing in a cramped studio apartment in the worst part of the city. The kind of place where the neighbors fought at 3 a.m. and the hallway always smelled like cigarettes and regret. I just launched my first product, a simple project management tool I'd built on nights and weekends while working a soul-crushing corporate job. I called my father first. Dad, I did it. The app is live. I have my first 100 users. Silence on the other end. Then, that's nice, Maya. Listen, I'm in the middle of something. Can we talk later? Later never came. I called my mother next. Mom, I quit my job. I'm going all in on the startup. Her response was immediate. You did what? Maya, that's incredibly irresponsible. What about health insurance? What about retirement? You've always been so impulsive. My younger brother Jason got into law school that same week. They threw him a party with a catered dinner. 60 people showed up. I wasn't invited. When I asked about it, Mom said, "Oh, honey, we didn't think you'd want to come. You're always so busy with your little project." My little project. Those 3 words became the soundtrack to the next 3 years. Building a company alone is hard. Building one while your family treats your life's work like a hobby is harder. But building one while actively hoping they'll finally see you? That's the kind of pain that either breaks you or forges you into something unbreakable. I chose the latter. Every investor meeting I walked into alone. Every late night when the code wouldn't work and I had no one to call. Every small win that went uncelebrated. Every doubt that whispered, maybe they were right. Maybe I was just playing pretend. I learned to celebrate my victories in silence. First 1,000 users, first paying customer, first profitable month, first employee hired. Each milestone passed like a tree in a forest with no one around to hear it fall. My co-founder Emma noticed. We were working late one night, both running on coffee and stubbornness, when she asked, "You ever talk to your family about the company?" "Not really," I said, eyes fixed on my screen. "Why not?" I shrugged. "They're not interested." Emma stopped typing. "Maya, we just closed a $2 million seed round. How are they not interested?" I didn't have an answer for that. Or maybe I did, and I just didn't want to say it out loud, that you can't force people to care. That love isn't something you can earn through achievement. That some parents see their children as reflections of themselves, and if you're not reflecting back what they want to see, you become invisible. Jason called me once during those 3 years. Just once. "Hey sis, I heard you're doing some tech thing. That's cool. Listen, can you lend me $5,000? I need it for a down payment on a car. Mom and Dad are tapped out from helping with my student loans." I was eating ramen for dinner at the time, bootstrapping every dollar back into the company. "I can't right now, Jason. Money's tight." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Come on, you're a CEO. Don't be cheap." CEO of a company barely scraping by. CEO who hadn't paid herself in 4 months. CEO who was one bad quarter away from having to shut everything down. But he didn't ask about any of that. I sent him $3,000, half of what I had in my personal account. He never said thank you. The turning point came during a particularly brutal board meeting. One of our investors, Richard, a silver haired veteran of 3 successful exits, pulled me aside afterward. Maya, you're trying to prove something. I can see it in every decision you make, every risk you take, every hour you work. I started to deny it, but he held up his hand. I'm not criticizing, I'm recognizing. I did the same thing for years, built my first company trying to prove to my father I wasn't a failure. Know what happened? What? I succeeded beyond my wildest dreams, sold for 40 million. And you know what my father said at the celebration dinner? I waited. He said, "Well, I suppose you got lucky." That's when I learned the hardest lesson in business and life. You can't build success on a foundation of proving people wrong. It'll never be enough. Not for them. Not for you. His words hit me like cold water. That night, I made a decision. I stopped checking if my parents had seen my LinkedIn posts, stopped hoping they'd call after a press mention, stopped sending Christmas cards that went unreturned. I stopped performing for an audience that had already left the theater. And something strange happened. Without the weight of their expectations or the pain of their absence, I became better at everything, clearer in my vision, sharper in my execution, present in my own life in a way I'd never been before. The company started growing faster. We found product market fit. Customers loved what we built. Employees wanted to work with us. Investors started calling us instead of the other way around. Within 18 months, we went from barely surviving to becoming the fastest growing company in our category. The Forbes article came out on a Tuesday morning. Emma burst into my office, waving her phone. "Have you seen it? Have you fucking seen it?" I hadn't. I'd been on back-to-back calls since 6 a.m. She thrust the phone in my face. There it was, a full profile. My photo. The headline, How 26-year-old Maya Chen Built a $100 company While Everyone Was Counting Her Out. The article detailed everything: the bootstrapped beginning, the innovative product, the underestimated female founder who proved the doubters wrong, the company that revolutionized how teams collaborate remotely. It painted me as an overnight success, which made me laugh because nobody sees the 3,000 nights before the one that changes everything. Emma was crying. "Maya, do you understand what this means? This is everything. Everything we worked for." I felt strangely calm, proud, yes, validated, yes, but also quiet inside because the people I'd once desperately wanted to impress weren't even on my mind when I read it. My team took me out for drinks that night. We laughed. We toasted. We celebrated the way families should with the people who'd actually shown up for the journey. I got home at midnight, exhausted and happy. That's when the texts started coming. First mom, then dad, then Jason, then aunts and uncles I hadn't heard from since childhood. Cousins, family friends, even my father's business partner who'd once told me to get a real job. All of them congratulating me. All of them wanting to reconnect. All of them suddenly available for coffee, dinner, calls. I read each message with a strange detachment, like I was watching someone else's life unfold. Mom's was the most elaborate. "Sweetheart, we saw the Forbes article. So proud of you. Let's have brunch this Sunday. We have so much to celebrate together. Dad and I have been bragging about you to everyone. Our daughter, the CEO. We always knew you'd do something special." Always knew. I almost threw my phone across the room. I didn't respond that night, or the next day, or the day after that. Emma noticed my mood shift during our Thursday morning meeting. "You okay? You seem distracted." I showed her the messages. She read them in silence, her jaw tightening with each swipe. Finally, she looked up. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." "Do you want to see them?" That was the question, wasn't it? Did I want to? Some part of me, the part that was still 23 and calling with good news, that part wanted to believe this could be different, that maybe success would bridge the gap, that maybe now, finally, they'd see me. But I wasn't 23 anymore. I was 26, and I'd learned that people don't change. They just reveal who they've always been when the circumstances shift. "I think I need to know why," I said finally. "Why now? Why, after 3 years of nothing? Emma leaned back in her chair. You already know why. She was right. I did. They didn't see me. They saw Forbes. They saw Valuation. They saw social currency and dinner party bragging rights. They saw an opportunity to rewrite history as parents who'd always supported their successful daughter. But here's the thing about having your success documented. You can't gaslight someone when the timeline is public. You can't pretend you were there when the article literally says she built this alone. I made a decision. I texted mom back. Sunday works, 11 a.m., the greenhouse on Main Street, just you and dad. Her response was immediate. Hearts and exclamation points and, can't wait to see you. I set the phone down and stared at my hands. They weren't shaking. That surprised me. I thought confronting your family would feel more dramatic, more emotional. Instead, it just felt necessary. I spent the next 3 days preparing, not emotionally, practically. I treated it like a business negotiation because that's what it was. They wanted something from me. Access, association, probably money eventually. And I wanted something from them too. Not reconciliation, not their love. Something simpler. Closure. Emma helped me think through it. What's your goal for the meeting? To understand who they really are without the story I've been telling myself, which is that they're just busy, that they care but don't know how to show it, that maybe if I was more successful, more accomplished, more something, they'd finally make time. And, what's the truth? I looked at her. That I was never the problem. She nodded. Remember that when you're sitting across from them. Sunday morning came cold and bright. I dressed carefully, not in the startup uniform of jeans and a hoodie, but in the armor of success. A tailored blazer, simple jewelry, hair pulled back in a way that said, professional, untouchable, done playing games. I arrived at the restaurant first, chose a table in the back where we wouldn't be overheard, ordered coffee, waited. They walked in together at 11:03, 3 minutes late, which was actually early by their standards. Mom spotted me first, her face lit up in that way mothers' faces do, genuine joy mixed with something else, something I couldn't quite name. She rushed over, arms extended. Maya. Oh, sweetheart, look at you. I stood, accepted the hug, felt nothing. Dad followed, handshake firm, smile wide. There's our girl, the CEO herself. Our girl, like I'd always been that to them. We sat. They ordered. The small talk started, surface level observations about the weather, the restaurant, the drive over. They were nervous. I could see it in the way Mom's hands fidgeted with her napkin, the way Dad's jokes came too quick and too loud. Finally, Mom leaned forward. Maya, we are just so incredibly proud of you, everything you've accomplished. It's amazing. Thank you, I said simply. The Forbes article was beautiful, Dad added. We've been sending it to everyone we know, the Johnsons, the Patels, everyone from the club. They're all so impressed. The club, of course. When did you read it? I asked. Tuesday morning, Mom said the second it came out. We were having coffee and someone mentioned it and there you were. We couldn't believe it. Someone mentioned it, I repeated. You didn't know about the company before that? A pause. Subtle, but there. Well, we knew you were working on something, Dad said carefully. You mentioned it a while back. 3 years ago, I said. I mentioned it 3 years ago, when I called to tell you I was launching. Mom's smile faltered. Has it been that long? Time flies. It does, I agreed. So much can happen. You can build an entire company from scratch, raise millions in funding, hire 40 employees, get acquired by competitors, turn them down, scale to $100 million, all in the time that flies. The table went quiet. Maya, Dad said, his tone shifting into the one he used when he thought someone was being unreasonable. We've always supported you. Have you? It wasn't accusatory, just genuine curiosity. Of course, Mom jumped in. You're our daughter. We love you. When was the last time you called me? I asked. Another pause. Before Tuesday, I mean. Before Forbes. When was the last time you called to ask how I was doing? Mom looked at Dad. Dad looked at his menu. We've been busy, Mom finally said. Jason's wedding planning has been consuming, and Dad's been dealing with the business, and you know how time gets away from you. Jason's getting married? I asked. Next month, she said brightly, latching on to the subject change. Didn't you get the invitation? No. Oh, her face fell. That must have been an oversight. Of course you're invited, your family. Am I? The question came out softer than I intended. Maya, what is this about? Dad's patience was wearing thin. I could see it in the set of his jaw. We came here to celebrate with you, and you're turning it into some kind of interrogation. I'm not interrogating, I said. I'm just trying to understand. You ignored me for 3 years. No calls, no texts. No, how's the company going? Or, are you still alive? Nothing. But the moment Forbes validates what I've been doing, suddenly you want brunch. I'm trying to understand why. You're being dramatic, Mom said. We haven't ignored you. I pulled out my phone, opened the call log, showed her. 37 calls from me to you in 3 years. You answered 9 times, average call length 4 minutes. I stopped calling 18 months ago. You didn't notice. Mom stared at the screen, face pale. Texts, I continued, swiping. Hundreds from me. Quarterly updates on the company. Photos of the office, links to press mentions. Know how many you responded to? Maya. 12. You responded to 12. Most of them just saying, that's nice, or a thumbs up emoji. Dad pushed back from the table. So, you brought us here to throw numbers in our faces? To make us feel guilty? No, I said calmly. I brought you here to give you a chance to be honest about why you're really here. We're here because we love you, Mom insisted, tears forming. You love the version of me that looks good in Forbes, I corrected gently. The version you can brag about at the club. The successful one. The one worth showing up for. That's not fair, Dad said, isn't it? I met his eyes. Tell me, what's my company called? Silence. Mom, do you know the name of my company? She opened her mouth, closed it. It's in the Forbes article, I said. The article you read and sent to everyone you know. What's it called? Maya, Calabra, I said. It's called Calabra. We build tools for remote team collaboration. We have 800,000 users. We're profitable. We've turned down 3 acquisition offers. I built it in a studio apartment while eating cereal for dinner. And you don't even know its name. The words hung in the air like smoke. Mom was crying now. Real tears, mascara running. We made mistakes. We should have been there more. But we're here now. Doesn't that count for something? Here for what, though? I asked. That's what I need to know. Why now? What changed? Dad finally showed his cards. Fine. You want honesty? We're proud of you, Maya. We are, but we're also... We need help. There it was. The business is struggling, he continued. The market shifted and we haven't kept up. We're looking at closing 3 locations unless we can modernize, and modernizing takes capital we don't have. And when you saw the Forbes article, I said slowly, you saw an opportunity. We saw our daughter who could help her family, Mom said, after 3 years of not being part of that family. You've always been part of this family, Dad said, frustration bleeding through. Just because we weren't constantly in touch doesn't mean... You missed everything, I cut him off. My voice didn't rise, didn't need to. The first employee I hired, the first time we hit revenue, the night I almost shut it all down because I didn't think I could keep going. The moment we closed our Series A and I cried in my car for an hour. The day I moved into the loft, all of it. You missed all of it because you didn't ask, because I wasn't worth asking about until I was worth something. Maya... Jason called me once in 3 years, I continued, to borrow money, $5,000 for a car. I sent him $3,000, which was half of what I had. He never said thank you, never paid me back. And now he's getting married next month, and I didn't get an invitation because you didn't think I'd want to come. The invitation thing was a mistake, Mom said weakly. No, I said. It was the truth. I'm not part of your life. I'm not in the family photos. I'm not at the holiday dinners. I'm not someone you think about unless I'm useful. Dad's face hardened. If that's how you feel, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe it was, I agreed. We sat in silence. The restaurant buzzed around us, other families enjoying their Sunday brunches, normal conversations, normal love. Finally, Mom spoke. What do you want from us, Maya? An apology? Done. I'm sorry. We're sorry. We should have been better, but we can't change the past. We can only move forward. Forward to what? I asked. To me writing you a check? To putting your business on life support? To pretending the last 3 years didn't happen? To being a family again, she said. Oh, we were never a family, I said quietly. Not the way families are supposed to be. I was an afterthought, the kid who didn't fit the plan, and when I succeeded anyway, despite you, not because of you, suddenly I'm worth your time. That's cruel, Dad said. It's honest, I replied. And that's what you asked for. I pulled an envelope from my bag, placed it on the table between us. What's that? Mom asked. A check, I said. $50,000. It's for Jason's wedding gift. He's my brother and I wish him well. I pulled out a second envelope. This is for you. $25,000. Not for the business. For you personally. Consider it payback for the childhood expenses, the college tuition, whatever you want. Dad stared at the envelopes like they might bite him. I'm not giving you money for the business, I continued. I'm not saving the family company. I'm not becoming the daughter who rides in on success to fix everything while you take credit for raising me right. Then what are you doing? Mom whispered. I'm drawing a line, I said. You want to be in my life. Actually, be in it. Not just when it's convenient. Not just when there's something to gain. Show up. Ask questions. Care about the answers. Prove that I matter to you when I'm not on the cover of Forbes. And if we do that, Dad asked, then maybe we build something real, not a transaction, not an obligation, an actual relationship. And if we don't, I stood, dropping cash on the table for my untouched coffee, then at least we'll both stop pretending. I walked toward the exit, my heart hammering, but my steps steady. Maya, Mom called. I turned. She was standing now, mascara-stained face, hands clasped. We do love you, even if we're terrible at showing it. I looked at her, really looked, saw the woman who'd raised me, but never really saw me, the mother who loved the idea of a daughter more than the actual person standing in front of her. I hope that's true, I said. I really do, but love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. And you have to choose it when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when there's nothing in it for you. That's when it counts. I left them standing there. The drive back to my loft felt longer than it should have. My phone buzzed several times, texts from both of them, but I didn't read them. Not yet. Emma called. How'd it go? I said what I needed to say. And now I wait to see if they heard me. What if they didn't? I pulled up to a red light, watched people crossing the street, living their lives, carrying their own complicated stories. Then I'll be okay, I said, because I finally understand something. Their approval isn't the finish line I've been running toward. It never was. What is? Building a life I'm proud of with people who actually show up for it. 3 months have passed since that brunch. Mom texts every Sunday now. Nothing profound, just check-ins. How was your week? Saw an article about your industry, made me think of you. Found your baby photos. You were such a serious child, Dad called twice. Once to ask about my thoughts on commercial real estate. Once to say he read an interview I did and thought I handled a tough question. Well, Jason sent a wedding invitation with a handwritten note. I'm sorry I've been a shit brother. Working on being better would mean a lot if you came. I don't know if this is real change or temporary effort. Maybe they're trying. Maybe they'll slip back into old patterns the moment it gets hard. But here's what I do know. I'm not waiting anymore. Not holding my breath for them to become the family I needed them to be 5 years ago. That version of me, the one desperately performing for their approval, she's gone. I went to Jason's wedding last weekend, danced with my brother, had a real conversation with my parents that lasted more than 10 minutes. They asked about the company. Actually, listened to the answers. Mom cried when she hugged me goodbye. I'm sorry I missed so much, she whispered. I'm going to do better. I didn't say, it's okay because it wasn't, but I said, I'd like that. Because here's what I learned from building $100 million company while my family wasn't watching. Success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Right to bet on your vision when no one else would. Right to keep going when the people who should have supported you didn't. Right to demand more from the relationships in your life. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't forgiving people who hurt you. It's requiring them to show up differently if they want access to who you've become. My company is worth $100 million, but the real value isn't in the valuation. It's in learning that I don't need anyone's permission to matter, not even my parents. If you've ever been the invisible child who became impossible to ignore, if you've ever built something beautiful while the people who should have cheered stayed silent, if you've ever had to choose between who you are and who your family wanted you to be, this one's for you. You were never the problem. You were just too big for the box they built for you. And Forbes or no Forbes, valuation or no valuation, you always mattered, even when they couldn't see it.